Welcome to today's PSHE Day. This is session 2, which is going to be about multiculturalism. So I'm going to talk to you about multiculturalism, and then you're going to have 2 independent tasks that you need to do. Let me first share my screen so that we can get started. Okay, so we are learning to understand multiculturalism in the United Kingdom. To be successful in this lesson, you will be able to define multiculturalism and diversity, recognise the impact of immigration on diversity and multiculturalism, and reflect on your own cultural identity. Okay, so really, it's quite random, but I've got some questions for you, and this is going to start making you think about multiculturalism and diversity and the importance of it. So in Arc Franklin, we have our ARISE values that stand for the rules and the values that we want to promote in our school. Which ARISE value do you think is most important? Is it A, achievement, B, respect, C, integrity, D, support, or E, effort? Pause the video and answer that question. Okay, now what I want you to do is go and find somebody else in your house and ask them what do they think the most important ARISE value is and why, and see if your answers are the same. Pause the video and you can do that now. My next question for you is, which is your favourite colour? Is it blue, purple, pink, red, orange, yellow, green? And once you've said your favourite colour, what I would like you to do is go and ask somebody else what their favourite colour is. And is their answer different from yours? If so, why? Is it a bad thing that your answers are different? I want you to start thinking about these questions. My next question for you is, what is your favourite subject in school? Is it maths, art, writing, reading, music, history, geography, science, computing, PE, Spanish, outdoor learning? Now, what I want you to do is imagine going to a school where every lesson is writing, all day, every day. The only lesson you did was writing. So in the morning you do writing, then you do writing, after break time you come back and do writing, then after lunch you do writing, before one more session of writing, and then you go home. Can you imagine what that would be like? Do you think you would enjoy that, or would it get boring? Pause the video and think and reflect on those questions. Now, the reason why I'm asking you that is because we are learning about multiculturalism, which is, I'm going to explain the definition in just a minute, but it's important for you to appreciate the differences, okay, the differences between us. I want you to start thinking about that. So here's some of the key vocabulary that we are going to be using today. So multicultural is a really important word. This whole lesson and session is on multiculturalism. Multicultural simply means people of different cultures and nationalities, okay, multicultural. So it's people coming from different places, different cultures and different nationalities. The next word we have is culture. Culture is the ideas, customs, social behaviour of a particular people or society. It's their beliefs, it's their values, it can be the languages they speak, it can be their traditions. It's what makes them them. And culture is shared between lots of different people. Another word that's really important for today's lesson is immigration. Immigration. Now, immigration is the action of coming to live permanently in another country. And it can be for many different reasons. Some of your parents may be immigrants. Some of you may be immigrants. And all it means is that you've come from another country to live permanently in a different country. Okay? And the last word is nationality. Nationality. And that means belonging to a country. Now, there are 2 ways for you. There are actually various different ways of you getting nationality. Most people, their nationalities will be decided by the country that they were born in. But if you are an immigrant and you come to another country and you're there for a certain amount of time, you can also become a citizen of that country. And that will then become your nationality. You can also have dual nationalities, which is when you have 2 nationalities. And you might know this because you've got 2 passports at home. So, what is multiculturalism? You may or may not have heard of multiculturalism before. Multiculturalism is a term used to describe people or different cultures and nationalities. We live in a multicultural and diverse society because the people around us have different cultural backgrounds. If you were to think of all the different people in our class, you would be able to identify that they come from different places, different countries, different nationalities, and they have different cultures. And that's a really good thing because it means we're so diverse and we're exposed to so much culture. So multi means many, and culture is ways of life. Multiculturalism is just many different ways of life. And you can see in the picture, we've got lots of people from different cultures. Moving on. So you're probably thinking, how did multiculturalism come about? Because it wasn't always the case in the United Kingdom. Okay, we didn't always live in a multicultural society. A long time ago, if you were to look around at the people around you, your next door neighbours, the people who you went to school with, the people you worked with, you would probably only see one dominant culture. Okay, but during the 20th century, immigration into Britain encouraged the development of diverse cultural experiences and understandings within society. This meant that lots of immigrants would leave their home country for lots of different reasons and travel to Britain to start a new life. So think about it. Many different people decided to leave their home and come to a new country and live there permanently forever. Some of them came with their families and some of them came by themselves. And there are many different reasons why people may do that. And here are some of them. People may leave their countries for new opportunities, so new jobs, new employment. There may be many more jobs in the country that they're leaving to travel to. For education, we're very lucky to go to a very good school. That's not always the case for some people in different countries. So they may leave their country and come and live in a new country so they can get a better education for their children and for themselves. Sometimes people, and this is very unfortunate, have to leave their home countries because it's dangerous for them to live in. There can be wars, which makes the country a very unsafe place. So they have to leave so that they can live in a safe environment and be protected. Also, things like famine. This means when there's no food in the country, there's a shortage of food, so they have to leave their country so that they do not starve. Okay. I would like you to pause the video now. I'm going to ask you a question, and this question you need to answer. If you're at school or at home, you can talk about it with somebody else. How do you think immigration changed things? Okay. Previously, you're looking around and there's one culture, and then you've got all these different people coming from all different countries all around the world, and they're coming over to settle in one place. How do you think that changes things? Pause the video and answer that question. Okay, hopefully you've had time to think now. Well, the combination of lots of different cultures brought lots of new things and influenced our culture today. So it brought music, literature, art, food and fashion from all different parts of the world, particularly from places that had been part of the British Empire and then the Commonwealth. So these are countries that Britain colonized before, and they still have links to. And it's also impacted things like business and sport. Today, when you look around at even that football, you can see even football teams like Arsenal, Chelsea, Liverpool have so many different players from so many different countries. It's now multicultural. So it actually impacts all areas of life. So your first task, I'm going to show you a video and then we are going to answer some questions. You can write down the answers to the question if you want to. Otherwise, you can just verbally answer them. So you can just say them out loud. Okay, so I'm going to reshare my screen so that we can watch this video. Okay, let's make that full screen. Okay, here we go.
This is Southall Broadway in West London. This area has one of the largest Asian populations in London. The United Kingdom is an ethnically diverse country with many different communities that reflects the multicultural nature of Britain. Many British people's families originally come from overseas. Over the centuries, people from around the world have come to live here. The first significant wave of immigrants arrived by ship from Jamaica in 1948. The Notting Hill Carnival celebrates this Caribbean culture. In the 1950s and 60s, Indian, Bangladeshi and Pakistani families made Britain their home. Asian Ugandan refugees fled here in the 1970s, followed by Somalis in the 90s. And in recent years, Eastern European citizens have arrived in search of work. This cultural variety makes Britain a vibrant place to be, but it's not without its problems. Conflicts can arise between cultures and generations. Young people whose parents or grandparents settled here have a very different experience of growing up to their parents. Sunny Garaval and his father Avinda live in Southall. Avinda came here from Kenya in the 1970s. Sunny was born here. Avinda, what was life like when you first came here?
It was hard. There was no jobs for people like us.
And what's life like now for young people, Sunny?
I think we're very much a part of the communities and government and everything, so it's a lot more equal for everyone.
What are the main arguments between the younger and older generations?
When they were small, I would let them wear these earrings and have a long ponytail. They have to look smart.
And what's the best thing about living here, Sunny?
The food, the different cultures that come in and bring their spices and their experiences and even their rituals. So you get a taste of the world within this small community.
In the past, differences between communities have led to violence, but new community-based projects have brought different generations and cultures together. Here at St Mary's School in Cardiff in Wales, more than 20 languages are spoken. It's one of the most multicultural schools in Wales. The school was involved with a project called Open Cities. It helps migrants, people from other countries, become part of the community. The school children took pictures of people and places to show what it's like to live in Cardiff. Some of the kids are featured in an exhibition called Open Cities Faces. Mercy and Joy and their father Derek are originally from Zambia. They've lived here for 6 years. Derek, tell me why you came to Cardiff and why you took part in this project.
I am an engineering consultant. I came to Cardiff because I was offered a job here. This project was a good thing because it was trying to show something positive about migration and integration.
Why is Mercy photographed by a window?
Because the photographer wanted to find a way to show the hopes for our future, the better life that we look towards to.
There's a lot of shadow in that photograph as well.
Oh yes, the shadow was deliberate to try to show our past, where we've come from.
And do you consider Cardiff to be your home now?
Yes, we are part of the local community. We have settled down and we think Cardiff is great.
Projects like Open Cities can bring people in the community together and give young people hope for the future.
Fantastic. We're just going to stop it there. Let me reshare my screen again. Although we've got the Art Franklin homepage. And we can go back to our slides. So hopefully you picked up a couple of things from there. Just some things to mention. We saw an immigrant at the end. We saw the dad who came from Uganda and his daughter Mercy and Joy. And they were in search of a better life, which is why they left their home country to live in the UK. Also, Govinda, the man, talked about how it was difficult for people like him to find jobs in the UK, and that was made difficult because of his skin colour. So he did suffer some problems when he first arrived, but his son said that many things had changed and were improving, and now he feels part of a community. So your first task is to read these questions and answer them. As I said, you don't have to write them down, you can say them out loud. The question number 1 is, how multicultural is your school and your town? Question number 2, how many different languages do students at your school speak? If you're not sure, you can just think about the different languages in our class, in your own class. So you can do Leeds, Mandela do Mandela, and Royal Holloway. You can think about your class. Do you speak a different language at home and at school? Question number 4, what reasons can you think for going to live in a new country? And question number 5, what difficulties do you think a migrant family would face? A migrant family is an immigrant family that have left their country to live permanently in a new country. Pause the video so you can answer those questions. Okay, moving on. So we've looked at a video of people who are now living in a multicultural society. I would now like to talk about the positives and some negative things about living in a multicultural society. The first thing being food. Now that we live in a multicultural society, it's brought about various different cultures' foods, and they're made accessible so we can try lots of different cuisines from all around the world. Here are a few. Maybe you can recognize some of them. Can you think of any other foods that come from different countries? It could even be your native dish from your own country. Pause the video so that you can have a think and talk about the different foods that we now eat that come from different countries. So the United Kingdom has people with different religions, nationalities, cultures. We are very lucky to live in London, which is one of the most diverse places in the UK. It is one of the most multicultural places in the UK. And you can see that even just by looking around at the people who go to our school and are in our class, we come from all around the world. Just in London itself, here are some religious buildings from various different religions. So we've got Neasden Temple, which is a Hindu place of worship. Here we have Lauderdale Road Synagogue, which Jewish people come to worship there. We have Regent's Park Mosque, and lots of Muslim people come to worship and pray there. We also have St. Paul's Cathedral, okay, which is a Catholic and Christian place of worship. And that's just in London, and I've just picked out a few. There are loads of different places of worship for lots of different religions to come together, and also it brings cultures together. Okay. Not only just that, approximately 1 out of 3 Londoners, so 1 out of 3 people who live in London, were born abroad, and over 200 languages are spoken in this capital city of London. Can you believe that? 200 languages are spoken in London. That's a lot of different languages from a lot of different cultures. The wide range of cultures and languages are celebrated in London in many different ways, mainly with amazing food and lively festivals. Now, I've shown you some of the food, different types of food and cuisines that we eat. Now, here are some festivals that are celebrated from different cultures. So we have Chinese New Year, where people eat lots of food, enjoy fireworks, wear special clothes, and hang red lanterns to mark the start of the lunar year. And here's a picture of some people celebrating Chinese New Year in Chinatown. We also have Notting Hill Carnival, which is a parade that happens again once a year with great atmosphere to sing, dance, and experience Caribbean culture. And you can see some children are dressed up in costumes. Lots of people wear costumes when they go to Carnival. Here we have London Mela, which is the UK's biggest South Asian festival. Now, South Asian, we're talking about Indian, Pakistani, Bangladeshi, Nepalese, those kind of countries. So London Mela is the UK's biggest South Asian festival, celebrating music, dance, and South Asian culture, and food as well. You can see they're dressed in their native dress. We also have St. Patrick's Day. And St. Patrick's Day is a celebration of Irish history and culture. It's a national holiday in the Republic of Ireland and Northern Ireland, but we also celebrate it here in the UK. And many people go out and have a good time, and they celebrate with their friends and family. So we celebrate culture and we celebrate diversity here in London and in the UK, which makes us a multicultural society. But there are also some disadvantages to multiculturalism. It's not necessarily disadvantage, but there have been some negative impacts as a result of it. So there has been racism in society that has caused people to dislike immigration. Some people feel that immigrants shouldn't be allowed into their country, even if it's unsafe in their home country. And this is a very sad thing, because if somebody needs to flee their home country because it's not safe or they want a better opportunity, they should be allowed to do so, especially if we have the resources here to help and support them. Also, more covert discrimination, that means more obvious discrimination against Black and Asian people, occurred in the late 20th century. So when immigration first started happening in the 20th century, so when Caribbean people were coming over on the Windrush, and when lots of South Asian communities were coming over in the 1960s and 70s, there were lots of discrimination. People were not very happy about it and were being quite mean to them. But more recently, Eastern European people have settled in the 1990s, and that's also caused tension amongst people who disagree with immigration. Now, the achievement of racial equality remains a challenge even today. And what I would like you to think about is how can we encourage people to become more tolerant of other nationalities? Unfortunately, there are some people in the world who are not very kind to other people, but how can we encourage people to be more tolerant of other nationalities? I want you to think about that at home. And what can you do to promote multiculturalism? What things can you do to promote multiculturalism? Pause the video so that you can think about that. So you're doing one of the things already, you're learning about it. Learning about racism and multiculturalism is really important so that we can then spread that on to people we know. You can promote multiculturalism by talking to your family and friends, and also asking your friends about their culture. Learning about new cultures is also really important to promote multiculturalism, because then we understand one another better. Okay, here is your independent task 2, and I'm very, very excited about this because it's a very fun task. We would love to see just how multicultural year 3 is. So your independent task is to create a fact file about your own identity. And here are some things that I want you to include on the page. So you need to include your place of birth and nationality. Your place of birth is where you were born, and your nationality, you are all British citizens. Okay, so your nationality is going to be British. Your ethnic origin, which is where you come from originally, so any countries that you're from, and languages that you speak or languages that are spoken by the people from your country. You can include any flags from your countries and native food, which is food that your people from your country like to eat. And then one interesting fact about yourself. So I've done my one, and my name is Miss Williams. My place of birth and nationality. I was born in London, which is in England, and my nationality is British. I'm a British citizen. I've included a picture of me. And if you want to, you can include a photograph of you. Make sure it's a nice one of you. Or you can draw a picture of yourself. I don't mind. Now I've gone on to talk about my ethnic origin, languages and native food. So my mum is from Nigeria and speaks Igbo. And my dad is from Ghana and speaks Twi. Both of these countries are in the continent Africa. Ghana and Nigeria are very near to one another, thus they share similar cultures. One of my favorite native dishes is called jollof rice, and it's a seasoned tomato rice that is usually served with chicken and salad. It's delicious. And an interesting fact about myself is I can play 4 instruments: the piano, the guitar, the drums, and the recorder. And as you can see, I've included pictures of Nigerian flag here, which is green, white, and green. And I've also included a picture of the Ghanaian flag, which is red, yellow, and green with a black star. I want you to then do that at home. Okay, so that is your independent task. Be sure to upload it onto Seesaw, because we would love to see how many different cultures we have in year 3. I really hope you enjoy this activity, year 3. I can't wait to see your fact files. Take care, and I'll see you in the next lesson. Bye.